All right, it's time for Top Talkers. Joining us on the panel today, Steve Lloyd from the Team 1200. Very excited that he has things to really talk about. It's so much better down there.
Tap dancing. It's
yes, I can imagine. Also, Candace joining us from Majic 100, and Codi Jeffries from Bob 93.9. Great panel. Interesting topic today, and it was an interesting article coming out of the Globe and Mail. Fashions, diets, and porn, just a few reasons why raising girls is harder today. That is the headline. A new book to be released this month suggests parents of girls facing some enormous challenges, particularly when it comes to protecting their children from a greedy corporate world that exploits young females through the marketing of fashion, diet solutions, alcohol, and pornography. You've got two young little girls.
What are you doing to me?
You're what, 2 and 4?
I got 2 girls, 2 and 4. So I'm a little, I hope I'm a little ways out from this, but you read something like that, you just think, well, I guess you're living with me the rest of your life.
Put them back in.
I'm sorry, that's just the way it's going to be. But yeah, when you read something like that, you know, we were just chatting before. We live in a different age now than when we grew up. We grew up as kids, so there are going to be some challenges. And when I see something like that, and I got 2 girls of my own, it makes you think, yeah.
Well, we're looking at mental issues too, in terms of then this creating anxiety disorders, eating disorders, and that we're dealing with a lot more mental health issues with younger girls than we were ever before. I mean, you look back at what you were like as a teenager. Did you see any of the things that the teenagers these days are dealing with?
I was kind of thinking about that, and looking back to when I was like, you know, 13, 14. I don't think we really focused so much on that back then as we do now. Like, there's lots of things like social media, and we see all these things which amplifies this issue that's going on. And no, I think it's just getting progressively worse throughout the years.
What do you think, Codi?
I think the same thing, but we all had our things going through each generation. I mean, in school, I had mean girls that were always, you know, saying things to me, kind of bullying the same thing, but you're right, we don't have the social media.
Like, what if that was happening on Facebook and on Twitter? I mean, we went through it, but a generation ago, it wasn't made public. It wasn't everywhere. You could have a bad day at school or someone was bullying you, came home and you talked to your mom about it, hopefully, but now the whole school knows about it. It's posted on Facebook. You know, how would we have dealt with it then?
Stay off Facebook? I don't know.
Well, these are kind of things that I think today's parents are actually looking at in terms of protecting their kids. I know that I have friends who are mothers of teenagers who are only allow their kids on Facebook because they're friends with them so that they can see their posts, they can see everything that's coming through. Probably in 10 years from now,
who knows
when your daughter, when your oldest is 14, how different will it be then?
Well, I think you have to have boundaries, and you know, to Codi's point, you know, every generation has its own challenges, and I think that's a challenge for parents right now. If you've got children right now in that age range, like the 10 to 15, you know, you're talking about limiting social media access. You know, computers in the living room, and that's the only place you're allowed to use it. There's nothing in your. People are going through these kind of things, so it's all about setting boundaries for your kids, and but you don't want to be the helicopter parent either. Like, it's a tightrope.
Well, the helicopter, it is a tightrope.
That's what I'm worried about in the future too. Like, I hope to have a family, and I'm thinking about all these things, and I think I'm totally going to be one of those helicopter parents running behind my kids. Don't do that. Don't touch that. You know, and you think about how much pressure you have as a parent to be that good role model and to have that responsibility, but it's really important to sit down and have that talk, especially with young girls and boys too, about body image and how people look and the way that they feel and how they present themselves.
Well, and you could be walking through a mall and look how different the posters, everything are, just on the mannequins, on the types of media that they're seeing just walking through, you know, the billboards. Those are a lot different. I don't remember seeing that kind of stuff when
I think it's all in how parents raise their own children too, and the morals they set and everything that they set at home. It all starts at home with your own parenting too, right?
You know what, I thought that, but I have, you know, they're saying though, and it's interesting because they're saying that our 18 is now the new 14, and what was our 14 is now the new 10. Like, that our kids at 10 are going through what we went through at 14, and our 14-year-olds are going through at 18. I'm almost, Andy's almost 8. And as much as the parenting, and I think that I've kind of instilled all of these things, I can't help it when she walks out the door that she's seeing all of these things and are hearing these things on the school buses, and she doesn't have an iPod yet or anything, but she's talking about what the kids are going through. So there's so much you could do to protect them, but I find that they're in a very different generation, that as soon as they are out that door, they are exposed to so much more than what we ever were.
I guess the question is, do we need to do more as a society, right? Because once they leave the house, and you don't have that control, right? Off to school, you know, on the bus, and there's going to be other factors at play. But I don't know. It's such a tough thing to understand and to make a call on here. Like I said, you don't want to be one of these helicopter parents. You don't want to, because if the child never has the opportunity to make the decision for themselves, then I guess they'll never totally grow up.
Now, they're in the article, they talk about the greedy corporate world. So does corporate America, do we have a responsibility to change some of the image or change some of the things that we're throwing at them? Because right now they're dealing with, you know, anxiety and eating disorders and everything else.
Everybody has a responsibility. No matter who you are or what you do, you should always be a positive role model to people. So.
Well,
Sticking with cats.
You're sticking with, of course, like I got my cats. The new book is actually called Raising Girls. There was a book that was called Raising Boys, but they felt that the need with so many health problems that are rising with young girls that they have now put their attention to this new book. And so this new book, Raising Girls, is going to be coming out within the near future.
So according to that, how old is my 4-year-old? 10?
Your 4-year-old right now, yeah.
Yeah,
probably.
10. Okay, good. Thanks. This was good.
Yeah?
Thanks for scaring me.
You're welcome.
I'll come back anytime.
That is
yeah,
the whole
it's
point
good.
of all of this. It was a really
That's good.
terrifying
Oh, that's
article.
good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Raising Girls, that's the book. It'll be out within the next couple of weeks.